you're asked questions about Mr. Rinking's inability to appreciate the nature of the offense, and we talked about that on direct, but you're also asked questions by counsel for the state on cross. So why was he unable to appreciate the nature of the offense here?
Well, because, again, he believed this was religiously ordained. He was being told to do this. He saw signs in the environment saying this is the right thing to do. And he believed these people had done, these are all CIA plants and CIA operatives that had worked to harm him. And this was self-defense against what they had done to him.
And would that go to both nature and wrongfulness?
Right.
And so with respect to nature, is it the inability to accurately perceive the reality around you?
Exactly.
Back to my hypothetical about thinking I'm throwing a football to you when I'm throwing something at your head and I'm in a courtroom instead of a football field?
Right.
All right. In that hypothetical, I can't accurately perceive and understand and appreciate the nature of what I'm doing. Is that correct, doctor?
You're psychotic analysis, that's right.
Right. And then the same thing with respect to wrongfulness. Did Mr. Reinking believe that there was an imminent threat of seriously bodily harm or injury from the CIA agents who were going to break into his house and slit his throat?
Yes.
And did he then believe that what he was doing was not legally wrong?
Legally justifiable, you could say.
Yes.
You can understand that shooting people would be wrong, but it's self-defense. It's they harmed him.
Yeah.
They're doing these things to him, and they've made this threat against him now. Plus, like I said, he warned them. Again, he didn't, but he warned them in his room. Leave me alone. Stop this, or I'm going to have to take lethal means against you. He said that, and they still kept doing it. Is how we looked at it.
In respect to moral wrongfulness, he believed he was being told by God to do this.
Yes.
Correct? And I don't think counsel for the state cross-examined you all about diminished capacity, but since counsel did touch on nature of the conduct and the awareness, is that an issue, this break from reality, is that also relevant to your diminished capacity finding here?
Right, that's right.
All right. Come over one moment, Judge.
Sure.
Thank you. Nothing further at this time, Judge.
Doctor, are you familiar with Tennessee law related to the nature of someone's, I'm sorry, I'll wait for you to finish.
I'm sorry. Did you stop this?
I'm sorry, you were putting eye drops in your eye.
Yes. I'm sorry. I do it so much. I have a medical condition, so I can listen at the same time.
Absolutely. Do you need more time?
No.
Okay. Are you familiar with Tennessee law regarding the nature of an offense? You've testified to it.
Not specifically. It wasn't provided to me I read it in the diminished capacity statute.
Okay, so you're not familiar with the exact definition of the nature of conduct in this context?
No, I did not look it up.
Okay. Because you keep talking about the fact that he believed it was self-defense, which that would be the wrongfulness, and that is not the nature of his conduct. So you're not familiar with Tennessee law on that issue, correct?
I did not research it.
Okay. And Mr. Johnson made a big deal about, I was asking you about the horrific injuries do you agree with me that Mr. Reinking had 4 firearms in his apartment that day?
I know he has at least 2. I do not know the number. If he represents 4, I'll take your representation. I don't know it.
Okay. And do you agree with me that if there were 4 firearms in his apartment and he chose to take the assault rifle, that that was a choice that he made? Do you agree with me?
So I do agree with you in general, though he claimed that's what God told him to take.
You're saying that Mr. Reinking claimed that God told him to take the assault rifle?
To take that gun, yes.
Okay. And so, Doctor, are you unfamiliar with what he told Dr. Wood when she was evaluating him?
Certainly on that specific issue, I didn't memorize it, so I don't know.
Okay. So her report says that Mr. Reinking stated, well, like he said shoot, he said you only have to shoot 3 people, and I assumed he meant kill 3 people, but maybe he meant a paintball gun, maybe he meant with a camera.
I do remember that now that you said it, yes.
Okay, so Mr. Reinking is saying he's not even sure if God meant for him to actually kill people. He might have just supposed to have shot them with a paintball gun or taken a camera with him to shoot a photograph, correct?
That's what he's saying after the fact, yes. Again, it's probably somebody trying to make sense of what happened.
Well, Dr. Wood is asking him about the command that he has told her he received from God. And it's Mr. Reinking who is explaining to her that it was not specific, that it was only to shoot people, it wasn't to kill people.
Well, he wasn't sure if it meant, so he assumed that it was. It was to kill people. Right? That's what you just read.
He said, I assumed, but maybe he meant a paintball gun. Maybe he meant with a camera.
Yep, that's what he said. That's what he said.
So there is no specific command from God to take an assault rifle and to kill people. Mr. Reinking is stating that. Do you agree with that, Doctor?
I agree that that's what he must have told her, but he told me something else.
And so you only believe what Mr. Reinking told you 6 to 7 years later.
I didn't care about what kind of gun he took. I cared that he took a gun. And what he told me was that that's how he recalled it, that God told him to.
And again, you're saying that you don't think it matters that instead of taking his Kimber 45 Pro Carry that holds 7 rounds of ammunition when he's supposed to only shoot 3 people, not even sure with a gun, definitely it wasn't clear if he was supposed to kill them, that him deciding to take the assault rifle with 90 rounds of ammunition is not relevant to whether or not he appreciated the wrongfulness of his conduct and the reason he went up there that day.
Right. Because again, the purpose was to kill. It's the matter of any of those guns would do it.
But one of them would kill way more than 3 people, correct?
Well, 7 would kill too. I mean, any of them would if they had more than 3 bullets.
And progress notes are a type of report.
They're just
Okay,
progress.
I assumed you wouldn't agree with that.
Because it's not right.
Okay, I asked you if you reviewed the MTMHI records and Dr. Kovac's progress notes, which is a typed document, correct?
It is.
It's dated. It's a formal document that's included in the MTMHI records, correct? You will not call it a report.
It's definitely not a report.
And his progress note, that was what I was asking you about. You had all of the MTMHI records. I never intimated that he did some report that directly contradicted Dr. Eisen, did I?
You did. That's my recollection. You called it a report, not a progress note, because I definitely would have picked up on that. I
Okay,
know, like,
So the verbiage of progress note, that's what's important to you,
No,
doctor?
no, the way that you represented it was that there was a different opinion by this doctor, and why did we not consider that? So looking at that, what it really was, that's really not a different opinion. This is a progression of how they come to their conclusions.
Okay,
He
well,
was writing a competency progress note, so.
doctor, you must not have listened to my question, because my question was very specific as to whether or not you considered it informing your
Object.
opinion.
This is not a question, this is argumentative, she's not asking a question.
This is on Great Road.
Doctor, you still do not consider Dr. Kovac's progress note that Mr. Reinking went to exact revenge, do you?
I considered it, and it is not correct, in my opinion. And it's not a formal report, so it's not really a formal opinion either. So I considered it, and again, I have to look at everything and base my opinions the way that I did.
And you also believe that video games are made for children, correct?
The vast majority are, yes. There's obviously some adult ones, to be sure.
Okay, and you don't play video games, you already admitted that.
Not on a regular basis, sure. Right.
Okay, well, have you ever played Call of Duty Warzone?
No, those scare the hell out of me. But I have played it. I don't like them.
And do you think that that was made for children?
Children play them, but I believe we have to look at what the age thing on it is, but teenagers most surely play those games.
And Metal Gear Solid, I assume. Have you played that one?
Yes, I know that is.
Okay, and Tom Clancy Rainbow Six. You're saying that those are children's games.
Well, yeah, my teenage son plays it. I know that teenagers play those games.
And again, doctor, you have testified over and over about, Dr. Johnson, Mr. Johnson's question to you, he asked you about if Mr. Reinking mentioned the CIA video and somebody gonna slit his throat.
The Navy SEAL video on YouTube.
You did not correct Mr. Johnson when he asked that question and said it incorrectly, did you?
Didn't hear. I don't think he says that. Well, the transcript will show what he showed. It was the Navy SEAL video. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. The
And
point is that YouTube was threatening him, and it wasn't.
And again, he said that one time to Dr. Eisen, one time.
Okay, but he told me that as well.
And he doesn't reference it at all in his handwritten journal where he describes the murders, correct?
No.
And you're saying that Mr. Reinking was so threatened. Did you consider the fact that he kept going back to the Waffle House?
Well, yes. I mean, that's how he knew he was being surveilled, because he knew that's how they knew things out of his journal, and that's how he knew they were hacking.
But I'm saying Mr. Reinking went back to the Waffle House. He wasn't afraid. He actually described it because it was practical to go there.
I think only location-wise, it was. It
Well,
wasn't
he-
that he was afraid of it, but that's how he knew. He was not afraid of the Waffle House. He never said that to me or anyone else, I don't think. But he was the imminence issue is certainly part of it. The spurnness. Again, we're talking about a psychotic person, and so the reason why he knows the CIA is working there is because people were having conversations about things in his journal, which can't be so. But this is what he's perceiving.
But you just said he wasn't afraid.
Not of that Waffle House, no.
Okay. And would you agree that Mr. Reinking's statement to Dr. Eisen, when she asked him about getting served with a summons for a lawsuit, that he expressed to her his understanding that the homicide victim's family would be upset, and he used the phrase, when someone dies like that? Did you consider that?
I consider it, yes.
And he's describing when someone dies like that, he's describing the injuries that he inflicted on them.
Certainly he's talking about after being shot, yes.
And he's understanding wrongful conduct, correct?
It's hard to know what he means by that specifically as it relates to wrongful conduct.
And Mr. Johnson asked you about the head injury, which I believe you referenced. He had a bicycle. He fell off his bicycle as a child. That was one of the
Yes, that was
ones that you mentioned. And then what? He got into some type of a fight with someone
Yes,
when
that's
he
right.
was younger. But again, he's working as a crane operator after both of those incidents, correct?
Yes.
Now, you are familiar with what he described happened to him on April 22nd, 2018. You saw the video where James Shaw Jr. flew at him and attacked him to save everyone else in that Waffle House that day.
Yes.
You saw him, he manhandled him. Mr. Reinking, his own words, that he was knocked to the ground, then I got up quickly and had a physical altercation, hand-to-hand combat ensued. He slammed me up against a pillar on the outside wall. I had hit my head on it and started seeing stars. That head injury that he describes very specifically happened after he murdered all of those people at the Waffle House. Joe Perez Jr., Torian Zonderland.
I wouldn't describe it as a head injury. That sounds like an at most a mild concussion. At most.
You wouldn't describe that James Shaw Jr., you saw him in the video, right?
Yes, I saw
He's a sizable person. He's in the courtroom. Do you recognize him?
I'm still speaking specifically about that. What you describe as a head injury.
You're saying that you think that James Shaw Jr., who was fighting for his life that day so that he can see his daughter again, that when he slams him up against a brick wall so hard that Mr. Reinking describes he saw stars, you wouldn't consider that to be a significant head injury.
That's not how we diagnose head injuries.
Right, falling off a bike as a child. That's how you diagnose them, doctor.
I did not do that either.
Briefly, Judge, she covered a couple of areas that we had not covered before. If I may.
We haven't even gotten to my question. We're gonna, well, now that I know you're not leaving till fall, I'm gonna figure that out.
So, Doctor, you were asked initially on re-recross about not being familiar with the specifics of Tennessee law about the nature of offense with respect to legal insanity. Do you recall being asked that?
Yes.
The standard for legal insanity, unable to appreciate, as a result of a severe mental disease or defect, being unable to appreciate the nature or the wrongfulness of your conduct, is, to your understanding, is that the standard that's in federal law?
Yes.
And to your understanding, is that the standard for legal insanity that's been adopted by every state that's adopted the Federal Insanity Defense Reform Act?
Right.
So when you describe your understanding as an expert forensic psychiatrist as to what the nature of the conduct is here and Mr. Rinking's inability to appreciate the nature of the conduct, is it based on your understanding of those standards?
That's right.
And is it based on your understanding of those standards from the perspective of an expert forensic psychiatrist?
Yes, and we're trained on it. And it's spent a year doing forensic evaluations under supervision, and that's the standard.
And you said, I think before, you've done over 1,500 forensic evaluations?
Yeah, probably more. Yes.
And your testimony has never been excluded?
Never.
And it's never been excluded based on you somehow applying the wrong standard for legal insanity?
No.
You were asked about this information that Dr. Brown got during her initial evaluations of Mr. Rinking in the Davidson County Jail. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And one of the things that you were asked about is after the fact, Mr. Reinking is talking to Dr. Brown about,
Objection, Your Honor. For the record, I did not say Dr. Brown. I said Dr. Wood.
oh, Dr. Wood, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We all get names wrong. It's, you know, and I got that name wrong. Dr. Wood. Thank you. So, and now let me go back. Dr. Wood. So when he is talking to Dr. Wood in the jail, and I think you're asked by counsel for the state, that he made a comment after the fact that voice from God could have been, when he said shoot them, a paintball gun, a camera, or a regular gun. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And when you said that, well, that was after the fact, are you talking about that he's trying to interpret or trying to state he may have misinterpreted what God told him to do?
So what happens?
Explain that if you
Yeah,
don't mind.
my experience in these cases, what happens is that they're thinking a certain way up to that happens, and then they get arrested, and then they get lawyers, and then they get, I mean, there's a lot of attention all of a sudden that comes to this, and there's a lot of people all saying, you did a bad thing, you did a bad thing, right? And so then they're trying to put that together, saying, I didn't do a bad thing, but they're saying I did a bad thing, how do I make sense of this? And so, again, it's this questioning oneself of, well, is that really what God meant? Did I mess up? I should have driven it back, or didn't drive back? Right? They start all these questions of things, thinking of this, right? So I think that, to my mind, is what the process he's going through is, especially in the context of another evaluation by a doctor who's asking questions about how he was thinking during that time. So that's, to my mind, what's happening. Because he does that with me a little bit too. Because again, where I might say, really, seriously, you're married to Taylor Swift, really? And then he starts saying, you know, well, you've got to understand there's two Taylor Swifts, and all this sort of stuff that goes on, which we don't need to go into, but the point is he's trying to understand it because he's well aware that there's, you know, Taylor Swift's on TV with Travis Kelce. Never mind that they're both Travis's, right? So that comes up. But he sees that and says, well, how do I make sense of this now? How can she be with somebody else? Well, it must be, and so that whole delusional stuff comes out about that.
So this, after the fact, whether or not he may have misinterpreted what God was telling him to do, at any point in time with you, with Dr. Wood, with anyone else, was he saying that God told me to shoot them with a paintball gun, but I disregarded what God told me to do and I used a firearm?
No, absolutely not.
At any time did he say, God told me to shoot them with a camera, but I was mad and so instead I used a firearm? Is that what he's saying?
No, not at all.
Does that statement alter in any shape, form, or fashion your finding that he was following a command, or he believed he was following a command from God?
No, it does not change that.
All right. And that's your opinion to a reasonable degree of forensic psychiatric certainty?
Yes.
Final question you were asked was about the neuropsychological deficits, the brain damage, what it could be attributable to, and you were being asked about, well, couldn't that be attributable to how Mr. Reinking was tried to be stopped when he was committing the shooting. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And are you aware that Mr. Reinking, of course, went away on foot, naked,
Yes.
after the fact?
That's right.
Are you aware of any information that he was unconscious at any point in time?
No.
So, just because, well, I'll take a step back. People that suffer from severe schizophrenia, do they have a problem perceiving the reality around them?
Yes.
If you have, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's part of the illness. Yes.
Yeah, part of the illness. And so if you have a problem perceiving the reality around you, are you more likely than someone else to engage in a fall or engage in a head injury or engage in some sort of conduct where you could get hurt?
Yes. Because you're confused or you may be misperceiving reality.
Yeah. Do you see that with schizophrenia patients?
Yes.
And so the report by Mr. Reinking about the head injuries with loss of consciousness that he remembers, that report, someone that has severe schizophrenia, is that likely the only time that he suffered closed head injuries?
Probably not. And those are the only two that he can remember and tell you about. So that's the only two I say anything about. But it's not inconceivable even that he could have had others, I suppose.
Right. And so to a reasonable degree of forensic psychiatric certainty, is it your opinion that at the time of the commission of the offenses, Mr. Reinking was suffering from the neurocognitive deficits present on the neuropsychological testing?
Yes.
And once again, even though you've gotten these cross-examination questions about this from counsel for the state, have you seen any contrary forensic psychiatric opinion or forensic neuropsychological opinion or just forensic psychological opinion to that point?
No.
No further questions.
Anything else from the stage?
No, Your Honor.
I have a few questions, Doctor. I've heard here today where Mr. Reinking went down there with the understanding that he had to kill these CIA officers, and I've also heard some writings that he had about killing the employees of Waffle House. First of all, how do you decide which of those two you accept as his motivation?
Well, at least the way he explained it to me was that these operatives were acting as though they were employees. So they're acting like they're there, but they're really not. That's their cover. Their cover is that they work at Walmart. Waffle House. It's been 5 hours. But it's really fun. They're really CIA people. So it's not, he had no beef with Waffle House in any way, or any of the people in there. He didn't know them. That wasn't the issue. But he believed they were acting. They were part of this. That's why.
Did he explain how he was gonna be able to differentiate between the CIA agents and the patrons?
At least the way he described it to me is he didn't think anybody, he thought they were all CIA, patrons and employees, whoever was in there was CIA. And particularly because I think even some of the patrons, he heard talking about his journal and saying words out of his journal. And so that's why he thought they were all in on it.
You indicate that a person with schizophrenia and neurocognitive deficits, their mental state fluctuates a lot. How do you parse out what it is that he most likely was thinking at the time?
Yeah, and so it's not necessarily fluctuates a lot, but some days, sometimes symptoms will be very prominent and very impairing, and some days will be maybe more quiet and they can function a little bit better. So the way that I look at it is, I'm trying to assess kind of what led up to this, and I go through pretty detail in terms of, how long it's been going on for, what you're experiencing, what finally led to doing this. This day, why did you do it a month ago, a year ago, right? I mean, this has been going on for a while. And that's where he details kind of how panicked he was starting to get, because he called the FBI, he called the cops. He said, you guys got to stop this from happening. And they said, you're crazy, right? None of this is happening. So he says, I can't get help from the legal system. Nobody will do anything for me. So what am I going to do, right? And then he sees the stuff on YouTube. And I think what happens is the algorithm starts showing him stuff, right, based on what he's seen, and that just spins him out of control. Because then it's all about CIA, secrecy, the Navy SEAL thing. And so then he starts getting really scared of that they're going to come kill me, sees the things in the environment. That's how, so I think the symptoms are very prominent. The paranoia. And that's the thing, he's not hallucinating all the time, so it would be obvious to a layperson that, he's talking to a wall right now, he's crazy. He'd be just so paranoid saying, you're CIA in his mind, I'm killing you, CIA, stop what you're doing, stop right now.
The neurocognitive deficits, do we know what areas of the brain he was suffering those deficits?
So scanning would tell us that, but where
Was there any scanning?
there's no scanning done yet. So this neuropsych testing that I saw, and I think he's going to testify at some point. So so you can ask him. But they would be the temporal lobe because that's where memory problems are. There probably is some frontal lobe problems as well, which is impulse inhibition and things like this. I say that because new learning occurs there and processing issues. So that's where I believe it would be.
With his, I'll wait for him.
Just based on that, I have one follow-up based on what you're asking. And it's about the scan question. So, Doctor, based on, can one have neurocognitive deficits, damage to the brain that would not show up necessarily that you can observe visually on a scan?
Yes, that's very common actually. Yes, you can have deficits on neuropsych testing because that's testing your brain working. A scan is just going to take a picture of your brain, and so unless you have a tumor or a stroke or like just a missing area, it will, that may not show at all because it has to do with connections and things of that nature, and those scans are not going to pick it up.
So, I mean, I'm going to go back to my oversimplification about a computer's hardware and the computer software, okay? So if you took the computer apart and you were looking at all the chips and the wires, if the one of the components was malfunctioning, just looking at it, you may not be able to see that, correct?
Right.
And is that very similar to if you were going to do an MRI or a CT on the brain, you may not visually see things that are clearly going to show up on objective neuropsychological testing?
Yeah, that's right. And actually another maybe better analogy might be a car's electrical system. Car looks great, wheels are fancy, paint job looks good, drives fine, and all of a sudden it doesn't work. The thing all of a sudden shuts off or you can't start it again. What happened? It's because of the electrical system has some kind of broken problem in it. Now you can't see that, but that's examples of the neural connections in the brain. If they go off, then yes, it would show on a scan, but you can see the damage on neuropsych testing.
Yeah, like the wiring in the brain, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Thank you, Doctor. No further questions, John.
Anything else?
Just one, Judge.
Doctor, I asked you this already, but your testimony to Judge Fishburne under oath, Mr. Reinking wrote, "I knew these people would be at the Waffle House late because as far as I knew, it was open all night. I could go there and get it done at night. That way it would only be the staff there, the people doing this to me." Correct?
Yeah, that's what you're up there.
That's what he said.
Anything else?
Based on that, yes. Briefly. Because it's an important point. It's so important the court asked Dr. Agarkar about it. Doctor, the fact that he was shooting at patrons and not just employees of the Waffle House, did he believe all of the people there were CIA agents?
Well, that's what he told me. Because specifically, there were patrons there that knew his journal and knew things that were in his mind. It's how did he know that if they're not CIA, if they hadn't hacked, if they were not part of this thing? So that made it be why he shot at patrons.
And once again, it's your job, instead of cherry picking selected items out of all of this data, is it your job to analyze all of the data and use your forensic psychiatric training to make an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty?
Yes.
And given all of that review that you did and all of your experience and all of your training, you found Mr. Reinking was legally insane at the time
Yes.
and that his capacity was diminished.
That's right.
No further questions, Joe.
Anything else?
Doctor, you just said that Mr. Reinking said the patron said things from his journals.
Yes.
And that is your understanding of why he also shot the patrons that night.
Yes.
And Doctor, you said you watched the video. Did you see that no one spoke to him? He was in his truck by himself, and Joe Perez Jr. was walking from the back of his truck, and he was already getting out, and he started gunning him down immediately.
Right, but it wasn't so. Remember, he told me as well. He had been to the Waffle House before. That's where he was hearing them talk about him and in the journal. Things in the journal. That's when that happened.
Because you are basing everything off of your conversation with him 6 to 7 years later after he's been convicted.
Basing what you answered your question based on that.
No one's asked him anything about this, but what about the fact that he hid out for 30 hours?
Yeah, so he believed that the FBI was
he'll be back. He'll be back. We can put him on first thing in the morning.
And maybe work a little later tomorrow if necessary.
And Judge, I would like to address the unconventional schedules because it might be necessary. Mr. Johnson didn't mention this when he was notifying the court about witnesses, but his email to us indicated that David Raven had a client that's a witness in a federal trial. And so he might not be available this week. The state is opposed to a bifurcation. We would request that if Mr. Raven is not available during court hours, that we can stay past 5 o'clock when federal court will have closed and he can come after court.
That's fine.
We'll talk to Mr. Raven about it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, or, yeah, whatever is necessary to accommodate getting it all done. All right.
We were just informed Saturday evening, Judge, that he, apparently in that same case, he not only has a client testifying, but he's been subpoenaed as well as a witness, so he's subpoenaed to this week. I'll get more information about that, certainly, we want to get this done.
Yeah, yes, we'll get it done one way or the other. And Mr. Johnson, there's nothing wrong with